May 9th, 1981. Lon Strickler is fishing a quiet Maryland river when a stray dog snaps and charges the brush. The reeds explode. An 8-foot, dark, matted hair creature rises, making a ticking sound. It swats the dog aside like a rag doll, then melts into the trees. Lon calls the cops. Minutes later, troopers and men who aren't local swarm in, acting like they've had weird calls here before. First in the sky, now on the ground. I'm Uncle Perry. I don't just tell stories, I dig up the fucked up ones most folks are too chicken shit to talk about, and I do it in a cavalier kind of way. From cryptids to government secrets, I chase down the truth behind the legends. This week, we're diving into an 8-foot beast that terrorized a Maryland community and got erased by the feds in under an hour. Y'all ready to tear it up? Let's get it! Anthony Dorsy sighting. Let's rewind to the real kickoff of this whole Sykesville shitstorm. May 29th, 1973. Anthony Dorsy, a badass firefighter who served Sykesville until '96, is kicking back watching TV when his dog suddenly loses its goddamn mind way out in the woods, growling and barking like it's staring down the devil himself. Tony's like, "What the hell? That dog's never that far out." So he steps outside and right away he hears something huge crashing through the brush, snapping branches like twigs. He grabs a flashlight, points it towards the chaos, and holy shit, 2 glowing eyes the size of jumbo marbles, glowing like neon, spaced about 5 inches apart, staring right back at him from 7 goddamn feet off the ground. Whatever the hell this thing is, it's tall, it's close, and it's fucking pissed. Tony doesn't fuck around. He calls the cops. Officer Charles Rupp rolls up fast, searches the whole area, and finds jack shit. No prowler, no bear, no nothing. Closed case, right? Wrong. Next day, Police Chief Omar Herbert shows up with Tony and they poke around the woods about 50 yards from the house. That's when they spot 3 barefoot prints in the dirt, each one 13.5 inches long, 6 inches wide, and sunk deep like something heavy as hell made them. Massive, human-looking tracks from something that sure as fuck wasn't human. Summer 1973, The Wave. That Friday, right after Dorsy's sighting, an out-of-town trucker damn near shits himself when he rolls past a muddy-ass figure just sitting on the roadside like it's waiting for an Uber. The creature stands up, 8 feet tall, and hauls ass into the woods. Driver's only comments, "It could have been a man on stilts. It seemed to be caked with mud from the waist down." And then in the summer of 1973, like a Christmas party at the Rosenbergs, it turned into utter chaos. 20 sightings in and around Sykesville in just 2 months. Saturday, Hazel Shepard hears something big as hell bulldozing through her backyard brush. Sunday, Bessie Stone and Diane Gasway watch a grayish-white, 8-foot hairy freak stroll through their yard like it owns the fucking place. Diane says it came right up to the door, rattling the knob, trying to get in. The family dog loses its fucking mind, damn near snaps the leash in half to go after it. Yet when everyone looks later, not a single footprint by the door. Not a. Diane's brother Howard grabs a rifle and starts playing Rambo. One night, he gets a clean shot off at the thing from 20 feet when, poof, Bigfoot just vanishes like a goddamn ghost. Cops weren't having a picnic either. One officer, answering a night call, swears an unknown being picked him up and yeeted him 15 feet through the air. Meanwhile, the cops are blaming hysteria from that Legend of Boggy Creek movie that just came out. Chief Herbert's quote to the Baltimore Sun about the armed monster hunting posses roaming the woods: "They don't know what they're looking for. They're jittery. One comes over a ridge with a rifle from this side, another from that side. Well, luckily, nobody got ventilated." Local papers ran wild stories about pets ripped apart by the monster. But the funny thing was, not one pet owner ever came forward. Still, all summer long, people kept spotting it. Teresa Jackson saw the tall, hairy fucker right outside her house. Dark, stringy hair hanging over its face, and those glowing eyes that burned right into your soul. Then, just like someone flipped a switch, every sighting stopped cold. Like it never fucking happened. 1977, Ellicott, Maryland. Fast forward 4 years to 1977. Just 15 miles down the road in Ellicott City, Maryland. This couple's living the quiet life in a ranch house that butts right up against hundreds of acres of farmland and thick-ass forest. Out back, there's this badass picnic table the husband's dad and granddad built out of an old, massive, wooden electric cable spool. I've got one of those myself on the back porch. Not this big, though. Heavy enough that it took 3 grown men just to muscle it into place years earlier. One day, they walk outside and the spool is gone. Like completely fucking vanished. They spot a trail leading off their property. Cornfield on one side, dark woods on the other, heading deeper into nowhere. All along the path, you can see where the spool was rolled for a bit, then straight up carried when the ground got rough. Mixed in with those marks, giant, human-looking footprints, way bigger than the husband's size 10 boots. We're talking clown shoe size. They follow the trail about a mile through some nasty, rugged terrain, and they see their picnic table chucked into a steep gully like it weighs nothing. Whoever, or whatever, took it didn't just drag it. It hauled that heavy son of a bitch over rocks, hills, and brush, then yeeted it down the ravine for shits and giggles. The couple's sitting there dumbfounded because no crew of bored teenagers is going to put in that kind of Olympic effort for a prank. 3 grown men could barely move the thing, yet something out there snatched it, rolled a mile through hell, and tossed it like an empty beer can. Another quiet little reminder that whatever's been creeping around central Maryland didn't pack up and leave after 73. It just got better at hiding, and a hell of a lot stronger. Why this keeps happening? Let's pump the brakes for a second and take a step back. You've got this insane cluster of monster shit exploding all over Sykesville in 73. Then, in 1977, the same freakish caveman antics just 15 miles away in Ellicott City. Same patch of Maryland woods. Same hairy asshole flexing on humans. So, why the hell does this one stretch of central Maryland keep coughing up Bigfoot reports like it's got a basketball-sized hairball from hell? Because if you rewind the tape just a hair further, before the Sykesville Monster sightings ever started, there's something cruising these skies that none of the cryptid books ever fucking mention. And trust me, it ain't Santa's sleigh. Regional UFO. Before the Sykesville Monster ever flexed on anybody, Shit was already getting weird about an hour north in Smithsburg. Local ranchers, Stanley Grubbs and his wife, started seeing some next-level lights in the sky every goddamn night for months, leading right up to the 1973 freak show. Stan described it as this bright electric green glow in the sky, like the exact same sparks you get when copper burns, that alien-ass green. Every night, the same damn thing was hovering out there over the hills. Then, to make it even creepier, there's this pulsing red light circling a much bigger object, blinking on and off. Every time the red light swung behind the main thing, the red light just vanished, like the big object was blocking it out completely. These weren't shooting stars or some asshole with a laser pointer. This was nightly, clockwork, right in the same chunk of Maryland sky. Few folks in the Bigfoot books ever connect the dots. But, come on, a glowing green UFO with a red strobe escort? Then, a few months later, the woods start shitting out smelly-ass 8-foot hairy motherfuckers? Yeah, that's not a coincidence. That's a goddamn prequel. Sykesville UFO. Now we're zeroing in on the exact moment the fuse got lit. We're talking May 1973, only days before Anthony Dorsey's dog started growling at glowing eyes and the whole town started freaking out. There's this big-ass reservoir right outside Sykesville. A bunch of locals are out there at night, minding their own business, when the sky straight up glitches. Out of nowhere comes this giant, glowing thing with flashing lights hovering over the water. Multiple people see the exact same craft. It ain't a plane. It's not a helicopter. It's not some drunk pilot with a flare gun again. This thing is huge, silent, and doing shit physics says that ain't fucking right. Then it gets batshit. The object slows down, drops low, real low, right over the reservoir water. The witnesses swear it unloads something. A large, dark, heavy-looking object gets lowered into the water. No splash loud enough to hear from shore, just released. It's like Amazon delivering a goddamn package. The second that thing is offloaded, the UFO cranks the lights to full strobe, shoots straight up like it hit the nitrous, and blink, it's gone. Vanished into the night. Keep in mind, this reservoir backs right up to hundreds of acres of thick forest. The same forest where, just days later, people start seeing an 8-foot hairy freak with glowing eyes, superhuman strength, and a bad fucking attitude. So, let me spell it out real slow. Glowing craft drops some big mysterious payload into the water. Then, suddenly, the woods are crawling with a monster that wasn't there before. Hair samples, footprints, a cop gets ragdolled, total media blackout. The whole fucked up sequence kicks off immediately after. You tell me that's random chance? I'll tell you to pull your head out of your ass. Whatever came out of that reservoir in May 1973 wasn't from around here, and it sure as hell didn't leave when the UFO did. Lon Strickler Sighting. Fast forward to May 9, 1981, 11 a.m. Bright, sunny, middle of the damn day. Lon Strickler, a dude who moved down from Pennsylvania in '76, is wading waist deep in his favorite stretch of the south branch of the Patapsco River, right outside Sykesville. This spot flattens into some riffles, then dumps into a big, calm pool. Dude's just trying to catch a few fish and chill. He's on the north bank when he notices this big mixed breed dog on the south bank, about 50 feet away, acting like it just sniffed the devil's asshole. There's an open clearing for maybe about 100 feet, then thick woods. Suddenly, the dog loses its shit, barking like a maniac, and charges into a huge clump of brush by the water. Out of that brush rises a goddamn nightmare, 7 to 8 feet tall, slouching like your uncle after his 6th beer at the family reunion, shirt half tucked, one shoe missing, still convinced he can outrun the cops. It's covered head to toe in dark brown, matted, nasty hair, and it's making this freaky-ass ticking sound, like a death watch beetle on steroids. The dog goes full Cujo and attacks. The creature barely flinches, keeps ticking, grabs the dog mid-lunge, and slams it into the ground like it's swatting a fly. The dog yelps, tucks tail, and hauls ass. As the thing turns to lumber back into the woods, Lon's already halfway across the river in his waders, trying to get closer. That's when the smell hits him. Thick, heavy musk, like a fox den that's been rotten for a month. Lon tries to tail it, but his waders slow him down and the creature melts into the trees. Later, he spots the dog again, blood all over its mouth and dripping down its backside like it got ragdolled hard. So Lon does the normal thing, jumps in his truck, races to the nearest payphone in Sykesville, and calls the cops. They tell him, "Get your ass back here and wait." It takes him 3 minutes to drive back, and a state police cruiser is already on scene. The cop tells him to get lost. Curious, Lon comes back an hour later. Full crime scene circus. Multiple state cars. One obvious federal SUV. Yellow tape everywhere. Dudes in suits combing the riverbank like they're looking for bin Laden. The cop again. "Get the hell out of here or you'll get arrested." Lon spends days calling state officials. Stonewalled. He calls every big Baltimore news station. WJZ, WBAL, WMAR. All super interested at first. Calls them back a few days later. "Never heard of it. Stop calling. We don't want to talk to you." Total memory wipe. The area is deep in Patapsco State Park. Thick woods. 0 people. One of the officers on site let it slip they found hair and other evidence. And just like that, the whole thing vanished. 8 years after the 73 madness, same area, same monster smell, same glowing eyes, evidence vacuuming cover-up bullshit. Whatever this thing is, somebody high up doesn't want anyone knowing it's out there. Before I pop the cherry on this thing, hit that like button and subscribe. I'll give you a few seconds. Awesome. I appreciate it. Okay, back to the pandemonium. It's still out there. November 20th, 2012, 3:40 p.m. A woman is cruising down Carrollton Road near Sykesville like she does every week when she spots something off. A young tree, 4 or 5 inches thick, snapped clean about 5 or 6 feet off the ground, 50 to 60 feet back into the woods. The break has deep-ass scrape marks gouged into the side facing the road, but only below the break, nothing above it. Deers don't do that shit, and her husband, an avid hunter, confirmed no way in hell a buck snapped it like that. She pokes around the tree line and finds 2 big compressed depressions in the leaves. One 6 feet in, one 2 feet from the guardrail, like something heavy as hell stood there. She grabs some rocks and does the Bigfoot knock special. One solid knock. 10-second pause, then 2 quick ones. 2 seconds later, a single knock comes back from way the hell over the hill, 300 to 500 yards away, easy. She tries more knocks, throws in a couple of whoops. Nothing but crickets. So, 30 plus years after cops and feds were scrubbing evidence, something big, strong, and smart enough to knock back is still prowling the exact same stretch of Maryland woods, breaking trees for fun and watching from the ridgeline. Still out there, still giving 0 fucks. Full disclosure, I'm all about chasing these hairy bastards down rabbit holes, but I gotta admit, not every glowing eye in the woods is a portal to another dimension. Skeptics have been shitting on the Sykesville saga since day one, and they're about as entertaining as your aunt's yeast infection story at Thanksgiving dinner after her second box of wine. Let's break down the big 4. Misidentifications, just some pissed off wildlife, outright hoaxes, and good old mass hysteria. First off, misidentifications. Come on, it's 1973 in rural Maryland. Flashlights suck. Adrenaline's pumping, and you're staring at shadows that your cousin Cletus sees after 3 days on meth. Witnesses swear they saw an 8-foot gorilla man with marble-sized glowing eyes. Skeptics say, nah, that's probably just your brain glitching on a deer or some drunk hobo in a fur coat. Hell, the whole ticking noise Lon Strickler heard in '81 could have been a goddamn woodpecker. No clear photos, no DNA, just fuzzy memories that get taller with every retelling. It's like that time I thought I saw Bigfoot, but it was your mom sneaking out of the back of the Waffle House at 3 a.m. with her panties in her purse and a Denny's waiter on her arm. Shit happens. Then there's the wildlife angle, because Maryland's woods are basically a furry convention. Black bears roam all over central Maryland, Garrett, Allegheny, even creeping into Carroll County back in the 70s. And they're sneaky fuckers. Stand one on its hind legs, boom, 7 feet of shaggy terror with claws that could fillet a truck tire. That musk-like fox piss smell? Bears reek worse than your sister after a marathon sex session. And those massive footprints Chief Herbert cast? Zoo folks said it looked like a sandal. But a big old bear dragging its paws through the mud fits too. Hell, escaped mental patients from nearby Springfield Hospital were floating around as theories. Folks thought the monster was some poor bastard who wandered off. No wonder cops blamed it on the Boggy Creek Monster movie. Hoaxes? Oh, they love this one. Picture bored rednecks with too much time, a couple of carved up 2x4s strapped to their boots, and a grudge against sleep. The trucker's muddy man-on-stilts sighting? Sounds like a prankster's wet dream. Slap on some swamp goo, lurk by the road, and watch the chaos unfold. Newspapers hyped dead pets mauled by the beast, but 0 pet owners came forward. And that spool hauling in Ellicott City? Skeptics swear a few teenagers with a grudge, a hand truck, and way too much free time pulled it off for shits and giggles. No body, no bones, no smoking gun proof. Hoaxers live for that gray area bullshit. Even the feds showing up in '81 smells like damage control for some elaborate April Fool's gone viral. Finally, hysteria, the real mindfuck. Summer '73, small town Sykesville's buzzing. Movie about swamp monsters hits theaters, and suddenly every rustle's a Sasquatch. 20 sightings in months? That's social contagion on overdrive. like Enfield's three-legged freak show. Chief Herbert warned jittery posses might accidentally ventilate each other, and investigators like Lutz called it pure panic. Folks seeing what they expect in the dark. Throw in some UFO rumors and whispers of a cover-up, and suddenly every dog barking at a raccoon turns into, "I swear I just saw the Sykesville Monster." That's how a whole town loses its damn mind and turns shadows into a cryptid legend. It's why the news stations ghosted Strickler. Hype dies fast when sanity kicks in. Look, these explanations don't erase the chills or the what-ifs, but they remind us humans are glitchy as hell. Still, that knockback in 2012, kinda hard to blame that on hysteria. Skeptics had their turn. Now, let's look at what's likely going on. First off, classic Bigfoot. 8-foot hairy freak, glowing eyes, musky stink, tracks 13.5 inches long, tree breaks at 6 feet high, superhuman strength, vanishing into thin air. That's not a drunk guy in a gorilla suit. That's textbook Sasquatch, East Coast edition. Same shit we've heard from the Pacific Northwest for decades, but with a Maryland vibe. The fact it keeps popping up in the same wooded corridor from 1973 to 2012 screams resident population. Second, and this is where my tinfoil hat gets welded on nice and tight, something got fucking dropped off. Rewind to those 2 UFO events right before the monster party started. Smithsburg's nightly green copper flame craft with red orbiting light. Then the Liberty Reservoir drop where a giant glowing disco ball hovers, ejects a big-ass payload into the water, and fucks off into orbit. Days later, Hairy Thunder starts stomping around Sykesville. That's not coincidence. That's a goddamn delivery. Call it an interdimensional hitchhiker, an alien pet that got yeeted out of an airlock, or a biological probe that grew a little too well. The point is, the timeline lines up tighter than a nun's asshole. Third, the government experiment angle that makes the cover-up actually makes sense. The feds rolling in within 3 minutes of Lon Strickler's 911 call, blacked out news stations, hair evidence that vanishes. That's not, oops, we must have lost it. That's classified op cleanup crew. Maybe they were testing some gene-spliced ape soldier that broke containment. Maybe they caught one of these fucking things decades earlier, pumped it full of glow serum and tracking chips, and it escaped into Patapsco Valley. Or hell, maybe the UFO wasn't ours, but we sure as shit wanted the cargo before Moscow got it. Either way, instant federal response plus total media blackout equals somebody in a black suit knowing exactly what's roaming those woods. The Sykesville Monster is real. Bears don't knock back wood knocks. Hoaxes don't haul 500-pound spools a mile through ravines. And mass hysteria doesn't leave physical evidence cops bag and tag and then mysteriously lose. Something real has been walking Central Maryland for 50 years, and every time we get close, the men in black hit the neuralizer. I'm not saying it's definitely aliens, escaped experiments, or ancient forest giants, but I sure as hell know it ain't a fucking deer. Believe what you want, but that thing's still out there, and it ain't done with us yet. Do you like weird-ass monsters and conspiracy theories? Then tap that like button and subscribe. That way, you won't miss out on more of my fucked up commentary. And besides, I really do appreciate it. So, what do you think the Sykesville Monster was? A misidentified person? A new species? Something from another world? And if you live near Sykesville, have you ever heard stories about this fucking thing? And if you're ready to crank that shit all the way up to 11, that join button's got your name on it. For just $2.99, you can have my back in a huge way. Until next time, y'all keep it real, keep it chill, and stay creepy! Catch you on the flip. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. You are the real beast.